Let's start by opening Omniverse Create for today's tutorial. And let me click Launch. And right now you can see that I'm in the version of 22.3.3, which is the latest version right now. And it takes a couple of seconds to compile all the code and do the RTX loading. And right now you can see we have something in the environment. So we have an environment. We have the sky and light. We also have the ground. And here we can change the light here by clicking the different buttons. For example, we have the sunny sky. Here we also can set color lights. And I'll change it to the Gray Studio to provide ambient light for the scene. And also you can see that here's the ground, which prevents objects from falling beyond this point. And let's start bringing today's object. And today I'm going to show you how to make a pendulum in the scene. And this is the clock I made from Blender. It is in the FBX file from the output of Blender, and I'll drag it into the stage directly. And here you can see that we have just the toy here. And we have the clock has two parts. The first part is the clock. We can drag it around to show you. So this is clock. And also we have the fish. So what we want here is to just to make the fish swing like a pendulum. Okay. And how we can do it? So let's start by creating some properties for the fish. So to make it as a pendulum, so we basically have two parts. The first part is the rigid body to enable the fitness of this fish point. And how we can do it? So by clicking the fish, you can click right add here. Also, you can click the property here. Just click add and physics and rigid body with collider preset. And you can see that here we have the collider attached to the rigid body of the fish. So actually it is attached to the X form, so which is the root transform of this object. And if you cannot see the colliders here, so we can click the I button here and click show by type and physics and joint and collider, and here I'll select the selected. So if we click none here, so there's no collider shown in the scene. And if we show all of them, including the ground, we'll show the collider. And while I just select the selected to just choose the collider I want to show. And here you can see that this is the collider here for the fish. Right now, the collider is constructed by this convex hull. So if we want to change into the collider, which has more details, we can click the mesh that is under this X form of the fish and drag it down to find the physics property here. Here we have a collider. We can choose to enable or disable the collision here. And also we can change the method to approximate the collision. So we have more complicated convex decomposition, and you can see that it adds more details here. And also we have just the approximation. For example, the bounding cube. This is just a rough approximation of this whole body. And also we have some other details, for example, the triangular mesh to enable the super detailed collision of this object. And right now I use just the default versions, which is the convex hull, which is simple here but have enough details. And if we click play here, the scene will be simulated automatically. Let's see what will happen. And you can see that since the rigid body of this object is enabled, it drops directly to the ground. And if we click left shift button and use my left mouse button to drag it, which will apply a force to it, and you can just play around with the scene to see the behavior of this rigid body. If we click stop here, and we'll go back to the original point, which is very good. And next, we want to attach a joint to make it just a swing or rotate around this point without falling to the ground. And let's choose the fish and right click. Here, instead of add something, since we want to create something, means to create something new. Add means add a property to the object, but create means to create something that is not in the scene. So we have visit and join here. So since it's a revolute joint, I'll just click revolute joint. And you can see that automatically the revolute joint is attached to the origin of this point. And just under the property of the joint, we have to set up everything. The first thing is to add as the body 0. So to tell the object to rotate around what. So absolutely, we need to just to make it rotate around the clock. And the second thing, and we can also click play to show what's going on here. And you can see that, okay, so right now we can drag it, but it is rotated on the wrong axis, which is not what we want. Here, so I'll change the axis for it. If we go down a little bit and the revolute joint, we can choose the axis here. So we can change it to the Y axis, I believe, and it can rotate around the Y axis. And right now you can see that it starts swinging and it is pretty good. And if we want to just add more details or add more control to the point, we can just set up the limit of the joint. So, and by the way, if we cannot see the joint here, I'll just click, I said the same thing, click here. We have show by type, physics and joint. Make sure that this is clicked, otherwise there's no joints set up, shown here. And you can see that the middle, this part, in the middle, the little this part is the symbol of the joint. Okay, and for this revolute joint, I like to add more control. Otherwise, if I drag it, it's just to rotate all the way into 360 degree, which is not optimal. So let's add some limit. And here I will to set up the lower limit is negative, for example, 60, and upper limit to be 15. So since it's already just to have some positive angle here, I set up 15 here. Let's see what's happening. If I drag it here, so you can see that whatever I do, it cannot just swing beyond this point. And if we go drag it back here, it just it has a limit as well. But this number 60 probably is too large. Let me change it into 45, negative 45. And here you can see that okay, it swings all like this, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. And okay, so I'll just click play and it will start swinging like a pendulum. It's really interesting, right? And let's stop here and change the light. For example, change default light. Change the default light. And also we can add some background, but at this point I just to choose the Gray Studio and just to hide the background for rendering. So if we pick up a right angle here and we can start rendering this thing. Let's start by click window, rendering, and movie capture. So if you forget about how to where to find the movie capture, we can click the tab sign here, and it has the quick search. We can click the search movie, and it says that okay, the movie capture is in the rendering menu. Okay. So here we have several options. So for example, we have to choose the camera. This is the perspective camera I'm using here by default. And also we can choose the size of the window. If we want to do it like a square, I'll change it to the 1024. And also here I 1024. By click this on link, we can change width and height freely. Also, we have to capture the frames, right? So I'll capture 100 frames with 24 FPS. And we can choose the rendering mode. And for simplicity, I choose the real time. If you want to do some path tracing or array, which are more accurate and and more photorealistic. I can change it to that. And also we can change the location of the file we are going to save. Since it's a video, I'm changing to MP4. So I changed the name is to a toy clock. Let me simulate just a 200, just let's say 30 seconds. 30 seconds, just 720 frames. And we will just click capture the sequence, and it will start simulating the scene by automatically play the physics in the scene. Let's click capture sequence. Let me change the camera a little bit. Okay. And click capture sequence.